Welcome to today's Explainer. Go ahead and get comfortable because we're jumping right into a really focused learning session today. We're going to calmly and clearly break down the core actors that actually dictate a company's ability to serve its customers. This is basically the entire foundation of the marketing environment. By the time we wrap up, you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of exactly how all these different pieces fit together into one big puzzle.
Okay, let's dive right into our syllabus for today. First, defining the marketing environment. Second, the company and suppliers. Third, the role of intermediaries. Fourth, 5 types of customers. Fifth, competitors and the publics. And finally, a quick microenvironment knowledge check.
Section 1. Defining the marketing environment. Let's set the baseline.
So, what exactly is the marketing environment? Well, it's defined as the actors and forces that affect a firm's ability to build and, crucially, maintain successful relationships with its customers. Now, this is split into 2 distinct parts, the microenvironment and the macroenvironment. The microenvironment, those are the actors right up close to the company, the ones that have a direct daily impact on its ability to serve customers. The macroenvironment, on the other hand, is made up of those massive, larger societal forces that push and pull on the microenvironment, stuff way beyond a single organization's control. Today, though, we're keeping our focus strictly tight. We're zooming in on those actors close to home, the microenvironment.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these forces are actually organized. Picture the company sitting right at the very center of everything. Immediately surrounding it, forming that first inner circle, is the microenvironment. We're talking suppliers, intermediaries, customers, competitors, and the publics. Then, in the outer circle, you've got the macroenvironment, those larger overarching forces like demographic, economic, or technological shifts. But again, we are locking our focus purely on that inner circle today.
Section 2. The company and suppliers. Let's look inside that inner circle.
Now, inside the company itself, marketing doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? When they're drawing up marketing plans, management has to actively consider all the other groups within the company. I'm talking finance, research and development, purchasing, manufacturing, accounting, and of course, top management. Marketing managers absolutely have to work hand in hand with all these internal departments because collectively, they heavily impact the success of any marketing action. Think about it. Finance has to actually provide the funding. R&D designs the safe products, and manufacturing makes sure the right quantity and quality actually get produced. It's a total team effort.
Stepping just outside the company doors, we immediately run into the suppliers. These folks provide the literal resources a company needs to produce its goods and services. They are an absolutely critical link in the overall customer value delivery system, which flows all the way from raw materials right down to the final customer. Because of this, marketing managers have to watch supply availability like hawks. Things like supply shortages, unexpected delays, or labor strikes, those can instantly cost you sales in the short run, and honestly, they can severely damage customer satisfaction over the long haul.
Now I want to pause for just a second. I have a question for you to reflect on. Before final buyers can actually purchase these goods, who helps the company promote, sell, and distribute them? Take a brief moment to really think about that supply chain we just looked at. Who is standing there right between the manufacturer and the final customer?
Section 3. The role of intermediaries. Bridging that very gap.
Now, what's really interesting here is looking at how this plays out in the real world. Marketing intermediaries are the firms that step in to help a company promote, sell, and physically distribute its goods to the final buyers. A fantastic everyday example of this is Apple. Rather than doing everything completely solo, Apple uses the services of authorized premium resellers to help the firm actually sell its products to you, the consumer.
There are exactly 4 types of marketing intermediaries that you need to have on your radar. First up, resellers. These are your distribution channel firms. Think wholesalers and retailers that help the company find its customers. Second, we have physical distribution firms. These guys help stock and physically move goods from point A to point B. Third are the marketing services agencies. So research firms, advertising agencies, and media firms that help target and promote the products. And finally, fourth, financial intermediaries. This includes banks, credit companies, and insurance businesses that help finance transactions or insure against potential risks.
Okay, time for another brief pause and a checkpoint. I want to challenge you to deduce the answer to this one. Among all these actors we've discussed so far, the company, the suppliers, the intermediaries, who is the single most important actor in a company's microenvironment? Who is the ultimate target of this entire delivery network? Take a few seconds and lock in your answer.
Section 4. 5 types of customers. The ultimate target. If you guessed customers, you hit the nail on the head. Customers are, without a doubt, the most important actors in the company's microenvironment. The aim of that entire value delivery network we've been talking about is to serve target customers and to build incredibly strong relationships with them. Without the customer, none of the other actors even have a purpose. And it's crucial to note here that companies aren't just looking at one type of buyer. There are multiple types of customer markets they have to consider.
In fact, there are 5 distinct types of customer markets. First, consumer markets. That's individuals and households buying for personal use. Second, business markets, which buy goods for further processing or for use in their own production processes. Third, reseller markets, buying goods specifically to resell them at a profit. Fourth, government markets, made up of government agencies buying goods to produce public services. And finally, international markets, which consist of buyers located in other countries. Remember, every single one of these market types has special characteristics, and they each call for careful, dedicated study by the seller.
Section 5, Competitors and the Publics. Let's move along and see how this builds into our understanding of the remaining outside forces.
Competitors are basically other businesses out there offering the exact same or very similar goods and services to your target customers. To actually be successful, a company has to provide greater customer value and satisfaction than its competitors do. You have to clearly differentiate your company's products, and you've got to deeply understand your competitors' specific strengths and weaknesses. Now, it's worth noting that no single competitive marketing strategy is going to be the magic bullet for all companies. Every single firm has to consider its own size and its unique industry position compared to the competition.
Next up, we have publics. A public is defined simply as any group that has an actual or potential interest in or impact on a company's ability to achieve its objectives. Basically, companies would be incredibly wise to spend time actively monitoring all their different publics, really understanding their needs and opinions, and dealing with them in a constructive way.
So what does a public look like? There are 7 specific types a business needs to monitor. Financial groups like banks and investment houses. Media entities like newspapers, blogs, and TV stations. Government agencies. Citizen action groups like consumer rights or environmental organizations. Local publics, meaning neighborhood residents and community organizations. The general public, specifically focusing on their overarching image of the company. And finally, internal publics, the workers and managers whose positive attitudes actually spill over to the outside world.
Section 6, Microenvironment Knowledge Check. Let's test your understanding of everything we just covered. Here is your task. List the 6 components of a company's microenvironment. I am going to hold a long, deliberate pause here. I want you to mentally list all 6 of the components we just talked about before we reveal the final answers. Take your time. Think back to that inner circle.
Got all 6? Let's see how you did. The crucial point here is that a truly successful firm must deeply understand these 6 actors. The answers are companies, suppliers, marketing intermediaries, competitors, publics, and customers. If you remembered those, you have successfully grasped the core foundational actors of the microenvironment. Thank you so much for focusing, for learning, and for joining me for this explainer. I'm going to leave you with this one final question to ponder. Looking at your own absolute favorite brand, which of these 6 actors do you think they manage the best, and which one is their weakest link?